Martin Luther was a central figure in the history of Christianity, a man whose life and actions changed the course of religion in Europe. Born on November 10, 1483, in Eisleben, Germany, Luther grew up in a middle-class family. His environment was marked by religious austerity and popular beliefs that influenced his worldview. Although he initially studied law, his life took a drastic turn in 1505 when he entered the Augustinian monastery, seeking a deeper connection with God. His life as a monk was intense and devout, but also full of questioning. He was ordained a priest in 1507 and earned a doctorate in theology in 1512. During his time as a professor at the University of Wittenberg, Luther began to develop his theological ideas, which would later be the basis of the Protestant Reformation, the 95 Theses, and the beginning of the Reformation. In 1517, Luther drafted the famous 95 Theses, a document that questioned the sale of indulgences by the Catholic Church. These indulgences were presented as a way to guarantee forgiveness of sins and entry into heaven, something Luther considered incompatible with the biblical teaching of salvation by faith. By nailing these theses to the door of the Wittenberg Castle Church, Luther not only started a theological debate, but also a religious revolution. The dissemination of the theses was rapid and resonated among the German population, especially among princes who sought to reduce the influence of the papacy in their territories. This movement gave rise to Protestantism, a new approach to Christianity that questioned established traditions and proposed a return to the Scriptures as the sole source of divine authority. The elimination of the 7 deuterocanonical books. One of the most controversial aspects of the Reformation led by Luther was his decision to eliminate 7 books from the Catholic Bible. These books, known as deuterocanonical, include Tobit, Judith, Wisdom, Ecclesiastes, Baruch, and the 2 books of Maccabees. In the Protestant version of the Bible, these texts are absent, reducing the Old Testament canon from 73 to 66 books. Why did Luther make this decision? According to the Reformer, these texts did not meet the criteria for canonicity because they were not written in Hebrew, the language he considered divinely inspired. Furthermore, Luther argued that some passages in these books contradicted fundamental doctrines of Scripture, such as salvation by grace and justification by faith. Theological and doctrinal motivations. Luther also rejected these books because they contained teachings that supported Catholic doctrines that he considered erroneous. For example, texts such as 2 Maccabees 12:46 spoke of prayer for the dead, a basis for the doctrine of purgatory. Practices that implied the value of good works were also mentioned, in contrast to Luther's idea that salvation is a gift from God, not something that can be earned by human merit. For Luther, the ultimate criterion for a book's canonicity was its ability to exalt Christ and align its message with the gospel. Finding that the deuterocanonical books did not meet this standard, he decided to remove them from the canon. Cultural and religious impact of Luther's translation. Another milestone in Luther's life was his translation of the Bible into German. During his exile at Wartburg Castle, Luther completed the translation of the New Testament in just 11 weeks. His work not only made the Scriptures more accessible to the general public, but also contributed to the unification of the German language and the emergence of a national consciousness. Luther's Bible was a powerful tool for the spread of Protestantism as it allowed believers to interpret the Scriptures for themselves without the need for intermediaries. This approach democratized religion, but also led to the fragmentation of Christianity into numerous denominations. Current criticisms and debates. Luther's decision to remove the 7 books remains a matter of debate. Luther's defenders argue that he acted correctly in adhering to what he considered a faithful interpretation of Scripture. However, his critics accuse him of having altered the Holy Scriptures to fit his own doctrines and create a new religion. Some scholars suggest that the removal of these books had more to do with the political and religious context of the time than with purely theological issues. Germany was divided into multiple principalities, and local leaders were looking for ways to reduce the influence of Rome. By creating a new Bible, Luther provided a foundation for a national church independent of papal authority. Luther's legacy and the Protestant Reformation. The Protestant Reformation not only transformed religion, but also the politics, culture, and society of Europe. Luther challenged papal authority, advocated justification by faith, and established a new model of Christianity based on a direct reading of Scripture. His impact extended beyond Germany, inspiring reform movements across Europe and laying the groundwork for modernity. However, his legacy is also marked by controversy. The removal of the deuterocanonical books and his focus on individual interpretation of the Bible have been points of division between Catholics and Protestants. Despite these differences, Luther's work remains one of the cornerstones of the history of Christianity. In conclusion, Martin Luther's life and actions are a testament to the power of ideas and how a single person can change the course of history. His decision to remove 7 books from the Bible was a bold act that reflected his commitment to his vision of faith. However, this decision also raised questions that remain relevant today. What criteria should be used to determine which books are inspired by God? Can a single person or denomination decide the content of Scripture? Luther not only challenged the traditions of his time, but also opened the door to new ways of thinking about and living faith. Its impact on religion, culture, and politics continues to be a subject of study and reflection, reminding us that faith and reason are powerful tools to transform the world. If this video has inspired you, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. And of course, share your experiences in the comments. Together we can build a strong and positive community. Thank you for joining us on this journey of growth and transformation. See you in the next video.